Hi there, I see there are 2 people watching right now. Can you let me know if you can see this? If you can hear me and if you can see me. Please write in the chat if you can see me. I don't see any chat messages appearing yet, but maybe it takes a while for me to receive them. So if you already hear this, I'm going to give a live lesson right now, and you can ask me anything you want about learning the violin. So right now, take your time to think about any questions you might have or about violin learning or about music learning in general. I could also answer questions about learning the guitar or learning the piano, or any other questions. So, oh, there are people. Okay. How can I'm just kind of trying to figure out how I can read what you guys say to me in the chat. So please bear with me. I'm a bit slow right now. I'm trying to figure all this technical stuff out. Okay, I can see people right now. That is great. We can see you, Rohan, it's Trenushta, Eline, and Elisa, Lisa, Sama, Youssef. Great that you are all there. So right now I'm going to send an email to all subscribers of the website so that I'm live so they can join if they want to. So I'm just doing that right now, and then we are going to start the lesson. So, okay. So I think my email is sent. So thank you so much for all your kind comments, and you are already asking me questions, which is great. Thank you so much. So are you single? No, I'm not single. Okay, how do you play vibrato is one question that I see a lot. So, okay, where can I start about this? Because vibrato is a really broad topic, and I think you could tell so much about learning vibrato. But vibrato is definitely one of the most challenging things you will learn on the violin, or at least how it takes a lot of time to learn. It is not something you just learn in a few days, in a few weeks. Most people take months to learn vibrato. But as all of you know, vibrato is really cool. And for those who don't know, I'm going to show you what vibrato actually is, because that is actually the start of your learning process, is to actually realize what vibrato is. So actually vibrato is just moving your finger back and forth really slowly. So I'm really fast, I'm sorry, really fast. So move your finger back and forth really fast, but I'm going to show it to you slowly right now. So here's vibrato. Do you see? I'm just moving my finger back and forth. If you would do this really quickly, you will get vibrato. So I'm going to show that to you right now. So this is what vibrato actually is. It's just moving your finger back and forth. Now, how to get there? There's a lot of exercises to do. And what I don't recommend, first, if you are just beginning to learn violin, I don't recommend to start learning vibrato right away. First, try to get your intonation right. So if you can play in tune, if you can play basic tunes in tune, so it sounds kind of good if you play easy songs or a bit more intermediate songs, then only then learn vibrato, because it will be harder to play in tune when you play vibrato because you're shaking your finger. So if you're not sure where to put your finger exactly, it gets even harder because you're like, okay, I'm shaking the finger around and I don't even know where I have to put it. So it will be super stressful. So first learn bow holds, first learn how to play basic intonation, how to play in tune, and only after that learn vibrato. Well, don't start working with vibrato like this. So don't just put your finger on the violin and just start shaking. Because it will sound a little bit like vibrato, but it will be super tense and it won't sound nice. It won't sound the way you want it to sound in the end anyway. So the best thing I recommend is to start with slow exercises. And there's so many exercises I recommend to do. And actually, if you really want to dive into vibrato, I am teaching a group course in March where you can join online. So actually, if you would really like this, you can join that course. I can really recommend it because then I'm giving everybody personal advice and you can really be one of my students. But for now, I'm giving you some basic advice. So if you can get your violin right now, everybody get your violin, and then we are going to do some vibrato exercises together. While you are getting your violin right now, I'm going to look at some more comments if I can see anything else I want to answer. So meanwhile, get your violin so we can practice vibrato. So get your violin right now. So, okay, how do you make it sound? Okay, I'm going to go to above first because I probably missed a lot of questions. How do you do vibrato? How can I reduce bow shakes? Okay, I'm getting back to that later because it's also a big topic. Thank you, Ich liebe dich. I also love you. Thank you so much, everybody, with your kind comments. How do you make it sound smooth? It's the same. It is to do with bowing too. I'm going to talk about it later. Okay, there's somebody that says, I don't play vibrato yet and I'm playing for 7 weeks already. That's no problem. If you play for 7 weeks, it's perfectly normal that you didn't learn vibrato yet. Most violinists take years to learn it. To learn it, it already takes months. So it's no problem that you can't do it yet. And anybody can learn it, but it takes quite some time. So how can you learn possession? I think you mean positions. So I'm going to talk about bow shakes, positions, and how to make it sound smooth. I have to make a list for myself to remember what I'm going to talk about. Okay. Right now, do you guys already have your violin? Please put it in the chat if you have your violin ready, because then we are going to do some exercises together. So write in the chat if your violin if you are ready to practice. Yes, Mayank, this was on vibrato, and I'm going to do a vibrato lesson right now. I love your accent. Thank you. So, oh yes, I know, Joy. It's not an easy instrument. You said you just get started. I know, but you can do this. It's great that you're here right now because that means you're motivated and practicing right now, even though you don't have to because nobody told you to watch this live lessons. Joy is ready. Great. Okay. Ready. Mano Panda is also ready. And Ada, I love you to look at my channel. I'm sorry, I don't have time to look at your channel right now, but maybe later. So, yeah. So right now we are going to practice vibrato. For those of you who don't have a violin with you yet, get your violin right now. We are going to practice vibrato together right now. So get your violin if you don't have it yet. Hello, Emma from Argentina. Great you're there. So, okay, we're going to practice vibrato. So the first thing you want to do in order to learn vibrato is to actually have a right left hand position. So please get your violin and put your third finger on the A string, just how you would normally put it on the A string. So put your third finger, so over here it looks like this, on the A string. For those who are still taking the violin, you can join later. Try to get it fast so you will actually be able to join the lesson. So we are putting our third finger on the A string. And now have a look at your arm. Do you hold your hand like this? Or does your hand look like this? So is the forearm in alignment with your hand? You have to take a look if you are actually holding your forearm and hand in alignment. This is really important. If you don't hold your forearm and hand in alignment, you can't learn vibrato. And this is definitely one of the reasons that some people are struggling so much to learn vibrato. So check if you are actually holding that in alignment. Then check if there's a space between, like I can't show it to you in this video right now, but if you are looking at your thumb, you actually see there's a space over here. So your thumb isn't like, I'm going to show it to you right now. Do you see there's this space over here? So if I would like let my thumb go too much upwards, there's no space anymore. So there needs to be a space in order to learn vibrato. So right now, thank you for liking my glasses, Raoul. And I live in Germany. I live in Berlin. Jedu Krishna. Hello from England. Great you're there. So right now, are you actually holding your, do you feel like that there's a gap over there? If there is, we can go on to the next step. And that is that if you're holding your hand in the right way, this is the most important thing to the vibrato. So if you hold your hand in the right way, we can do our first exercise, and that is okay. We move our third finger upwards until we touch the violin over here with our wrist. So move your hand upwards right now until you touch the violin over here, and put your third finger on the violin. And your hand is still in alignment, and there's still a gap here behind, like at the thumb. You can't see it right now. So right now, start moving your your hand backwards really slowly, like this. So you move your hand backwards, so the finger is actually like, how can you say that? So do you see how the knuckle of the finger is like getting straight and getting round again? So you're making this backward motion. You have two ways in which you can make this backward motion. Either you do it with your hand, and that is with what violin is also called wrist vibrato. If you're making these backwards motions with your hands, you are a wrist vibrato person. And if you're making the backwards motions with your forearm, you can make it with your forearm too. So do you see the hand and the arm stay in alignment? And you're making backwards motions with the forearm, then this is called arm vibrato. So really slowly, I'm going to show you arm vibrato. And this is wrist vibrato. So these are the two kinds of vibratos that are used the most. There's also one other kind of vibrato, which is finger vibrato, but this was mostly used in the classical period. And right now, like most big violinists use wrist vibrato, arm vibrato, or a combination of the two. And I'm actually normally using a combination of the two, but you can choose for either one of them. So right now, try to put your finger on the string and move your hand or your whole arm backwards and try to make this sound happen. So you're moving your hand backwards and forwards again. I'm going to come really close to the camera, like this. This is wrist. Here there's arm vibrato. So you see I'm moving my whole hand away, and wrist vibrato in moving my hand backwards and forwards again. So to practice this really, really slowly, then you are actually practicing vibrato. This is slow motion vibrato, as I mostly call it with my students, but you can call it all kinds of, violin teachers have all kinds of different words for it. So this is a way to get started with vibrato. I also recommend starting with free exercises. You can look on YouTube for free exercises vibrato. And also I recommend to join my course in March if you want to, because then I can explain much more about it, because it's such a big topic that I don't want to spend this whole video about talking about it, because I really could. And there's so many questions I still want to answer. So this is a basic way to get started with vibrato. I hope that helps you. And right now I'm going to answer some questions about it. How can I keep my thumb still in place? Oh yes, I know this is a big problem that almost all of my students have when they start learning vibrato. The thumb is like moving all around and it doesn't want to stay at the same place if you start moving your hand backwards, right? So the thumb, you have to hold it loosely. If you would hold it very strongly, it is almost impossible to play vibrato. But if you hold it too loosely, it is like moving everywhere, right? So you have to find a balance between keeping it very tightly and having it too loose so it moves everywhere. So maybe you have to hold it a little bit tighter. Now I'm going to go to the next question and tell me if that works for you, or like, yeah. Also, it also just helps if you play the violin for a longer amount of time. So I'm not sure about how long you're playing the violin, but it gets easier and easier to put your thumb in the right way and to get flexible with your fingers, even though your thumb is, you're holding your thumb like this. So it might also just be your experience, and that if you get more experience practicing the violin, it gets easier for you. So the next question is from about vibrato still. Do you have the thumb space when not doing the vibrato as well? Yes, Fiona, you always have the thumb space. And if you don't have the thumb space right now, you should definitely be working on it. So I'm going to show it again for those who are new here or that didn't see it yet. So always the right hand position for practicing the violin is always that there's space over here. So like between the thumb here, between the hand and the fingerboard. So the thumb isn't like all the way upwards, but your hand goes down. And as I also said, your hand doesn't lay like this on the finger. It doesn't hold the violin like this, but you hold your hand like this. So it's actually aligned with the forearm. I'm going to show it to you right now. Do you see that my forearm and hand are aligned? So why are you actually doing this? It's important to work on it right now, because later, if you want to play in position, if you hold your hand like this, you can't move very far. So you are just always staying in first position. And for those who don't know, first position is if you play on this part of the violin. So the below the not the upper part, but the below part. Not sure how to say it in English, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about, right? So this part. That is all the part below. So if you want to play in position, you want to move your hand upwards. And if you would hold your hand like this, it would be impossible to move your hand upwards. So you really want to play like this from the very start. So if you are just a beginner violinist, always make sure your hand is aligned with the forearm, so you can actually move upwards later on and also play in position. So you can actually also play in the higher positions. So, okay, let's see. How to change to a third position. I'm going to talk about position later. There's somebody else that also wants to learn more about position. Oh my god, there's so many questions. Not sure how I can answer all of them. Thank you so much, guys, for being there. It's awesome that you're asking so many questions, and I'm going to try to help everybody. So, thank you, Ned, for loving my videos. Also, my new violin sounds very high-pitched. It could be because of the violin. You could also try to change the strings, and you can actually find string charts online that will tell you if what kind of sound you will get from the strings. I should probably write a Violinspiration email about it. It will probably be helpful for more people. Scratchy sounds. Yeah. Okay. Okay, right now I'm going to talk about bowing. Thank you so much for all the kind comments. So thank you, Surya, for loving my videos. So, okay, we're going to talk about scratchy sounds right now, because many of you have questions about scratchy sounds and about bowing. And bowing, playing smooth, scratchy sounds is actually all about the same. It's all about the bow. If you use the bow in the right way, you normally don't hear any scratchy sounds. Although there's one exception, and I'm going to show it to you right now. So there is probably 3 most common ways why you hear scratchy sounds or why the bowing doesn't sound smooth. The first reason for it not to sound smooth is if you are not playing parallel to the bridge. So many of you maybe know this already, but this is really important when you're practicing the violin. Your bow should always be parallel to the bridge. This is the bridge of the violin, this little wooden thing over here. And if the bow goes unparalleled to the bridge, like this or like this, you will hear scratching. So I'm going to show to you right now. Please close your ears if you don't want to hear this. So this is scratchy, and like this too. You will hear this kind of scratching happening. Of course, most people try to bow straight all the time, but then at some point they are just like moving like this, and then it starts scratching. So the first tip I want to give you is to always bow straight. But there's really one very important thing about it. So if you look at your violin and you are trying to put your bow straight and you're looking at it like this, it looks straight for your eyes, but it isn't straight. So you have to check in the mirror if you are actually playing straight. So if it looks straight for you, it doesn't mean your bow is straight. Normally it even is not straight. So I'm going to show you like this. It looks straight for me. When I look at my bow right now, it looks straight. But if you probably see in my webcam that I'm not bowing straight right now, because I know it is not straight right now because I practiced. But for me, it does look straight. So I always have to move my hand a little bit like this, and now it should be about straight. And for me, it looks like the bow is not straight. So really try to practice in front of the mirror so you can actually know if your bow really is straight. Most people don't struggle that much in the middle of the bow, but start to struggle in the ends of the bow. So to still play straight over here, or to still play straight over here. So try to make a very slow tone, look inside the mirror, and try to practice just on open strings like this. And do you hear how it just sounds kind of bad? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you feel, if it is like bumping a little bit or something like that. In the beginning, it's just important to practice bowing straight on one tone. And then if you are trying to bow if you're bowing faster, it automatically stops getting bumpy. But you have to practice this slowly first, because otherwise it will get bumpy anyway. Yes, I'm from the Netherlands. Slim Shady. Ik ben Nederlands. Yeah, okay, let's go on to the next reason. Why you... There's somebody that is asking, I experience bow hug when bowing down. What do you recommend for that? So it depends on which part you are actually experiencing the bow hop. So could you try bowing and telling me where about you normally feel the bow hopping? Because on different parts, I would recommend different exercises. So another reason for scratchy sounds or no smooth sounds could be that you are pressing too much into the bow, or not putting enough pressure, but it's mostly too much pressure. So if you're pressing too much into the bow, it will sound like this. So really try not to press, but try to balance. So if the bow is really balanced, you could bow with just 2 fingers, and you will get a sound. Do you see that? So try to balance the bow and try to make it go parallel to the bridge, and then you are way ahead of most violinists already. So another reason for it to sound scratchy, and this is actually the only reason I can think of that it could sound scratchy because of the fingers and not because of the bow. Normally, if you hear scratchy sounds, if you hear any sounds you don't want to hear that's about like smooth playing, you always have to look at your bow, because it's normally the bow that is creating the trouble. But there's one thing that could create the trouble on this part, on the left-hand part, and that is that you don't push your fingers enough into the string. So if you don't push enough into the string, you will hear something like this. So what I mean with that is that you have to push the finger downwards into the string. And of course, here I have to put a side note. There's a balance between pushing too much into the string and pushing too little. So if you push too little, you can hear some scratchy sounds. If you push too much, you don't hear scratchy sounds, but you will get pain in your hands. It will feel really uncomfortable. And in the end, it will also be harder to learn to play fast, because if you are pressing so much into the string, it gets much harder to put your fingers on the string. So you have to experiment for yourself and to find a balance between pushing into the string and like not pushing at all into the string. And you can do that by just like, you have to experiment, to be honest. So just play some tones and push a lot, and then play some tones and don't push at all, and find like where the balance is for you. So in general, don't push as little as possible. So do like push your finger into the string as much as you need to be able to actually hear the tone, but don't push more, because in the end, violin playing should feel lively. It should be something we enjoy. Most of us started playing the violin in the first place to have a nice hobby and to enjoy playing the violin. So it's nice to remember, always try to find the easiest way to play. And that is also why some really famous violinists who are playing amazingly if you look at them, it looks really easy. And that is because they are trying to find the easiest way to play. So always if you feel pain, if something feels uncomfortable, probably there's a reason for it. Probably you are doing something wrong. Probably you're tensing up too much. So always try to find the reason for that. So the next question is, do you recommend, Jody Shaw, could you recommend any classical book? And I love your videos and emails. Thank you so much. So any classical book for beginners or for what kind of level? Could you please answer over there? So any exercise to practice timing? I'm not sure if I should like answer the questions that are above or like below, because I'm not sure if those people are all still there. So so any exercise, so practicing timing, it is about something different right now. So maybe first about the bowing. How do I produce even sounds when doing a full bow? I'm having trouble balancing the weight of the bow. So so yeah, this is definitely a lot of practice, and practicing this exercise I just showed you in front of the mirror. So like this. So trying to put your bow straight and practicing really slowly. So Sarah Tramsubaram is still there. That is great. So I will talk about practicing timing soon. I'm going to end the bone part right now. So how can I try not to squeak and hit other strings? So this is also definitely practice a lot. So when you're hitting other strings, you can practice just playing on one string at a time and just doing these kinds of exercises. So, okay, you get a family member, a friend or something like that, and you ask them like, just say a string, A, E, G, or G. Say one of these strings, and I'm going to play that string, but on the moment, I'm making a mistake, and I'm playing two strings at the same time, or you hear squeaking, you have to start all over again. So you get a point for each string that you're playing. So that's an exercise I do with my students, and it's quite fun and a fun way to just kind of learn how to play on one string at a time. So you're playing an A, and then they say, okay, G, and then you're playing a D. And what is really important with this is that when you change strings, don't move your bow off the string, but try to change by keeping your bow on the string and making just a motion with your arm up and downwards. So this is a way to change strings, and this is sometimes also preventing squeaking, because many students in the beginning, they are like playing like this, and they are like putting the bow a little bit off the string, and then you will hear some kind of squeaking or some kind of bumping around. So I'm just reading the questions right now. Please bear with me and thank you for your patience. So right now I'm going to talk about rhythm exercises, because that is something that someone before was asking about. Saratram. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. So how are you going to work on your rhythm if you feel you have difficulties having your doing your rhythm right? Probably you are not the only one. Probably there's more people that have trouble with rhythm. And the first thing I do with my students that have trouble with rhythm is actually putting the violin away and trying to clap along with songs. So first you're starting with easy songs and trying to clap in the rhythm, like pop songs or songs with a strong beat, and then you can move on to classical songs and try to clap along with songs that have a different kind of that are more harder. How can I say that? Yes. So this is the first thing you can do. You can also walk. You can also dance. Actually, dance is a great way to practice rhythm. I love to dance, and I signed up for some I did swing dance classes and like partner dancing, and I could really recommend actually getting into dance if you want to practice your music rhythm, because it's a great fun way to practice rhythm. And another way to practice your rhythm is to practice with a metronome, although I'm personally not really a big fan of it, because it can be kind of boring and it can be overwhelming for students that are not good at rhythm anyway, because you start practicing with a metronome and you're like, oh my god, I'm not playing the rhythm all the time, and then they give up. And so this can be quite hard. So I recommend actually doing something else. If rhythm is you're having trouble with rhythm, you try to make. I'm going to give an example. So normally I'm trying to make words up for the rhythm the student has trouble with, and then I'm going to practice that rhythm with those words. So for instance, this probably sounds kind of fake. So maybe you have a song that has a rhythm like D, 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 D. Maybe that is a difficult rhythm. And then I love ice cream. And then we just say the rhythm together. I love ice cream. Until you really can say it in text. And then I'm going to transfer it to violin playing. So if you that is something you can practice too by yourself. Joy asks, do you do individual online lessons? So I actually do sometimes. I don't have many online students right now. I don't take many online students, but sometimes I have spaces. So if you are interested in having online Skype lessons, private lessons, you can write an email to Julia@violinspiration.com. Just the email I am writing most of you with if I'm writing member emails. And then I can try to find a place for a new student. Sometimes I have a lot of students, but I always try to create to give the people a new space, give the people a space that applied earlier. So if you want to have online Skype lessons, you can sign up at julia@violinspiration.com. So the next question, why is it when I play that I may not get a sound and it sounds scratchy? So if you don't hear any sound, it's probably because you didn't put enough rosin on the bow. Rosin is, I'm going to get my rosin to actually show you. Because I know not all of you are native English speakers, just like me, and I sometimes didn't know the words. So this is rosin. So you have to put that on your bow. So, and that will make it sound, then you will hear more sound. And what is, okay. Okay, I can't find the question anymore. I just go to the next question. These live lessons are amazing. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that you have to go to bed. How to shift? Oh, yes, of course. I was going to talk about shifting. I'm sorry for those who were still waiting for that. So how to shift from the first string to the third or fourth string? Should I lift up the bow? Oh, okay. This is not about shifting, but changing strings. So yes, if you want to change from the string below all the way to the string over here, you just have to move your hand like this. Downwards, back and forth, always keep contact with the string. Never lose contact with the string. So if you're starting on the G and want to move to the A or even the E string over here, you start here, you pass the D string, I'm feeling the D string right now, and then I'm going to the A string, and then I play the A string. So actually I just kind of silently pass the D string. So I'm playing a tone. Then I'm moving to the A string. I just play anything right now. So this is something you could work on yourself. Of course, on some parts you can also whatever. You can also try, you can of course also lift the bow up. But if you get started, I recommend to always move like this, on change strings like this, because this is the most secure way to make it sound good. And actually, if you're changing strings from D to A or from G to D, actually that is what how most violinists change strings. So because so actually they are making this movement really fast, so it looks like they are directly playing on and you don't really see what they are doing, but actually they make this movement between the two tones. The next one. Thank you. Oh, how great that you are playing 1,000 Years on your wedding. That is great to hear. And I'm really happy to read that. Greetings from Canada. Okay. Oh, greetings from Bavaria, which is really close, actually. I'm from Berlin. Oh, Renee, I just sent you an email today, by the way. I saw that you sent me an email about the book. So, can you place what brand is your violin and your strings? Okay, I get this question often. This violin is actually a handmade violin, and I bought it from an old lady in the Netherlands one day, and it's made by a violin builder from Amsterdam, and I think it's unique. I think there's no other violin that you can buy just like this one. Let's see what he's called. Daniel Rayer, I think he's still alive. So if you want to have a violin of him, you could go to Amsterdam, but it's quite pricey. So yeah, I recommend finding a second-hand violin that is quite expensive if you want to have a violin like this, because normally you can find them at much lower prices second-hand. So I bought this one second-hand from somebody else. So yes. I always try to find second-hand violins for me and for my students, because I think there you get normally the best quality, and also it's the most sustainable. Like for the environment, I really enjoy second-hand violins. So if you can ask the help of a violin teacher in town to help you find a good second-hand violin, normally it's worth the money. Surya says, learning a new piece of music is too stressful for me. It's making me afraid to learn new music. So my question is, how do you break down practicing into manageable goals and stay motivated? That's a great question, actually, because many people don't think about it. They just kind of give up and they feel like it's too hard, but they are not realizing why it is too hard. And often it's because violin is super, super hard, right? There's so many things we need to learn. There's the bowing, there's the intonation, then we have to learn rhythm, then there's all the theory behind it, then we have to learn notes. And for many people, it can be really demotivating at times to realize how much there's left to learn, and at any level, actually, because even I am always like wondering, like, I'm not good enough yet. I still have so many things to learn. Where can I start? So it doesn't matter where you are in your journey playing the violin. You will always feel in some ways that there are still so many things to learn. And then you have vibrato and shifting, and you have all the pieces. So how do you break that down into manageable pieces? And how do you stay motivated? So one thing I do with my students, I can show you. Maybe you would enjoy this too. Wait a moment. I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so here it is. This is what I create for my students. This is somebody that just started, and this is a level chart. So this student is level 1 right now, and they will get a sticker. And these people are actually grown up. This is not kids. So and it actually works. So it really motivates me. So they will get a sticker if they completed a song, and I try to give them songs that are not too hard but still challenging. So this is the first tip I want to give you. Teach yourself songs if you don't have a teacher, or if you have a teacher, make sure to learn songs that are not too hard but also not too easy. So you can actually learn them in about 3 or mostly 4 weeks of practice. If it takes you longer, it will be really demotivating. And so try to find songs that suit your level. And on my website, you can find a chart with actually the levels of each song. And all the songs that I'm practicing on in my YouTube channel. So go to Violinspiration / I think it's go to my website and then go to violin lessons, and then you will, or lessons, I think it's just called lessons. And there you can find a downloadable chart where I actually ordered all the lessons in beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and just take the beginner lessons if you feel demotivating at times. Then you can make a chart like this for yourself. So try to give yourself a level up if you learned your first 9 songs. And what I'm doing with my students is they can only get a sticker and finish the song if they dare to send a video to their friends and family about it. So it shouldn't necessarily be everybody. Actually, I have a group for my students, a WhatsApp group, and they can share it with each other. So on the moment they learn a song and they finished it, they share it with the other students. So that is the kind of the thing they need to do in order to move to the next song, because then you're sure you can really do it right. And then we actually create a performance video together where I accompany them on the guitar. So you can do something like that for yourself if you don't have a teacher that is offering that to you, or like practice the violin by yourself. You can actually tell to yourself, I'm going to make a video, maybe even on a YouTube channel if you would enjoy sharing it with other people. And only if I made a video, I can go on to the next level, and I'm going to give myself like a sticker. So what helps me to keep motivated is to not give myself too big tasks, but also not too easy tasks, because if it's too easy, it is not motivating at all. So yeah, you have to find the balance between those two. The other thing I do with my students to keep motivating, and also for me, I do this with not just playing the violin, but with every part of my life. Also with my YouTube channel, for instance, because in the beginning I didn't have any subscribers, so it was kind of demotivating to create videos. Right now it's much more fun for me, of course. Now everybody is enjoying the videos. So I kind of make small goals for myself. So for instance, I tell myself I'm going to make 10 videos this month, and trying to reach those like bite-sized goals, or I'm going to try to reach the 100 subscribers. But I also always keep a big goal in mind. So I make small goals for myself and a big goal that will actually directly relate to the small goal. So for instance, here my students can write down their dream goal. So here's their dream goal. I don't know if you can see it. So you can actually write down any goal you have. So this student of mine wrote down, I want to play Irish music in real speed. So she wants to play on jam sessions, and she wants to play Irish music in real speed. So this is her ultimate goal, and everything we do together is actually working towards this. So I'm also going to try to give her songs that are making her reach this goal. So I'm mostly working on things that in first position, because Irish music is mostly in first position, and so on. So you can try to create goals for yourself and imagine yourself reaching those. So maybe your goal is to play a really beautiful violin piece for your friends and being really proud. Maybe your goal is to play at jam sessions. And I can definitely recommend getting friends that are into music too. This is one of the most motivating things, to practice with other people together. So this is about motivation. Okay. Oh, the difference between violin and fiddle. Okay, so violin and fiddle is actually the same thing. It's both the same instrument. And actually, I got a lot of trouble with this, because in the Netherlands, there's just one word for violin, and it's called viool. And when I went to the States, I was teaching the violin in the States for about 3 months as an exchange teacher. And I was always talking about violin, but I was teaching on a fiddle school. So everybody was like, why are you saying violin? You're not teaching violin, you're teaching fiddle. And everybody was getting really confused by me, and like a little bit attacked, because they felt like they were a fiddler and not a classical player, and that was something completely different. So what mostly is the difference between fiddle and violin is the same instrument, but it's a different style. So fiddle, you would normally play fiddle songs. So what are fiddle songs? It's folk songs. So for instance, Norwegian folk, Irish folks, old-time folk from the States. Bluegrass is also called fiddle. Sometimes even jazz players call the violin fiddle, but most of them say violin, because they feel like, I guess, jazz players think they are a little bit more high standard than fiddle players. I'm not sure, because violin sounds a bit more classy, right? So classical players normally call it violin. So if you're playing classical pieces, you will call it violin. If you're playing folk pieces, you're calling it fiddle. And there's actually more differences between those two. Normally classical pieces, they have the accents on the first and the third beat, and fiddle pieces have accents on the second and fourth beats. So in fiddle, you're playing dee, 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 dee. Do you feel there's on the second beat, there's like the clap, and with classical music is it. So it's like that. So so I'm going to show you one fiddle piece. So this is fiddle music. like film music, and classical music is more like. That kind of music. So you do definitely hear the difference when you hear something. If you feel like you're in an old pub, it's probably a fiddle player. If you feel like you're in a classical concert, it's probably classical music. So Bach double violin concerto. Yeah, that was actually, I think it was Mozart, and this is Bach. This is Bach, more like that kind of music. So, how to develop wrist flexibility? Because my hand keeps shaking, so the bow is shaking. So I have an exercise to develop more wrist flexibility, and that is this. So you keep your bow like this in the air in the right bow hold. So what is the right bow hold? Because many people still mess up after years of playing, so I'm just going to show it to you quickly. So your little fingers rounded. It is never like this or like this coming from above, and it is not straight, but it's rounded. Do you see it from the side how the finger is just like bent, and the thumb is bent too. It's not like that. This is a mistake many beginners make, and many not beginners make too, by the way. But it is round. So those two fingers are round, and you could actually hold the bow just with those two fingers. And the other fingers are just kind of laying on top of the bow. This one, middle finger, is in front of the thumb. This one is next to the middle finger, and that one is a little bit further away, but it depends on the bow hold your teacher teaches, because some people are teaching Russian bow hold, some people are teaching German bow hold. So I'm teaching German bow hold, and that is like this. So this finger is a little bit further away. In Russian bow hold, I think the finger is more like this. It's closer to the other fingers. So it doesn't really matter, but I put it a little bit further away. So if you want to practice your wrist flexibility, keep your bow like this. And the best would be to keep it next to your hip. But I'm not going to keep it next to my hip because then you don't see it. Your arm stays in the same place. Your arm is not going to move. So you're not making the movement from your arm that I'm going to make. And then we are doing this exercise, and you keep the right bow hold. So this is a challenge, right? You can try it with me right now. It's a big challenge to do this. Actually. And you're making, like when I look at the top of my bow, it looks like this. Do you see it? It's like making round movement. And I'm making round movement with the wrist. And you can practice this everywhere. Also, if you're working in an office, or if you have to wait for the doctor, or if you are bored at some point on any reason, wait a second. Or if you're in class, I actually practiced this in school because I was not really paying attention to the teacher. I'm so happy that you guys actually are, because you are listening to me. So you can practice it with a pen too. So make the right bow hold with a pen and start practicing. So you could actually practice this everywhere. Don't practice this for too long, because then it will strain your wrist and you can get hurt. So practice this for 30 seconds a day, and you will see a difference and get more wrist flexibility in your bow hold. So I really hope this helps you. The one that was Mahi. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. So Oh, yes, I'm having trouble in learning rhythm. People suggest that tapping foot to beats, but I always end up tapping out of sync while playing the piece. This is definitely a common problem, and it is not easy to tap your feet while playing the violin, while also trying to check your fingers and trying to check your bow hold, right? It's so difficult. So you're not the only one that is struggling with that, let that be clear. So the thing you could do is to try to tap along with pieces without a violin first. So I really enjoy cycling. So I'm normally cycling, and often I also listen to music. Of course, just in one ear, so I can also hear the cars, because in Berlin, otherwise you will die. So I will tap along with any music on my bike, like on the not sure how to call it. Like I will tap along with the music with my hand. And you could try to do this everywhere. If you are going by train, if you're going by car, tap along with your hand or tap along with your feet and listen to music if you can all the time. Because if you just listen to violin pieces, you will already get better at playing the violin. There's a I see a big difference between the students that listen a lot of music and that don't listen a lot of music. It's just easier for them to grasp musical concepts just because they listen so much more to music. So this is something you can do to actually learn tapping along with your foot, is to first just tap a lot along while you are actually just listening and not playing the violin. Also keep practicing a lot because you will actually get better at playing the violin, and then you don't have to think about it that much, and then you can actually also think about tapping. But for me, it is still a challenge to tap as difficult rhythms and so on. So I always try to practice tapping in difficult rhythms on my bike. So, so you can also do this if you travel by car, of course, or by any other vehicle, or by walking. You can also walk in rhythm. And this is actually, my mom is also a teacher, and she teaches a lot of young students, and she will actually walk around in a room all the time with the students to make them feel rhythm or dance with them. So I sometimes dance with my younger students because this is a great way to get better at rhythm. So yes, so I don't see any questions right now anymore. So if you still have any questions, this is a moment to still ask. Because maybe I will leave soon if there's no questions left anymore. I really thank you so much for all your kind comments, like Kishore Puffs and Voice Moods. Thanks for your lessons. You're so kind. Thank you. Thank you so much for being so kind to me. I really enjoy that all of you are like following my lessons, and it's really really fun for me to see comments from all over the world, and it's really enjoyable because in the beginning, when I just had my YouTube channel, I didn't get any comments, so I was just like dreaming of having people that would actually watch my lessons. So thank you for being there and for following along, because it's a lot of fun for me and it gives me a lot of fulfillment to be able to help you. So Demi Rose, I actually started learning the violins last year on January, so it's been a year now. I've dreamt of being a part of an orchestra in the future since. Do I still have a chance at that? I think you do have a chance at playing in an orchestra if you want to play in an amateur orchestra. I'm not sure how old you are. If you want to play in a real orchestra, probably it will still be possible. But there's the time commitment that you will have to give in order to play in a professional orchestra is huge, at least in Europe. I am not sure what it is like in other countries, and it might be a little bit easier in some countries to be able to play in an orchestra. But in Europe, the entry levels in a professional orchestra are so insanely high that even if you play since you're 6 years old every day for like 10 hours, then you are still having troubles getting into an orchestra. So, but an amateur orchestra, of course, this is possible, and there's orchestras in any level. So yeah, so I definitely recommend checking it out and finding an orchestra right now already. After 1 year of playing, you can maybe find a beginner orchestra or an orchestra for people that don't play for a long time. And it will be much more fun too, because if you get in those like more high-end orchestras, I noticed like on the higher the level is of the orchestra, the more arrogant the violin players can be. So what I want to say with it is that if you play with a better orchestra, the people will watch you. If you just make one little mistake, people will just watch at you, and it is just more stressful to play in a better orchestra. So it's sometimes even better, I think, to play in a worse orchestra. It will sound a little bit worse, but then you feel more relaxed and you have more relaxing people around you. So yeah, and I don't want to say that all orchestras are like that, but it's just something I experienced personally. So yeah. Vibrato, I already explained it in the beginning of this video, so probably if you can rewatch the video, you will see Gatman TV or GAD Man TV, you can watch the beginning of the video and see what we were talking about over there. When I get the bow at the end, when I'm playing, my arms moves from my shoulder, but not from my elbow. When I'm playing, my arm moves from my shoulder, but not from my elbow. What's the problem here? Okay, so thank you so much, Larry. Thank you, Joe. Thank you all for all the kind comments that all of you post. I do read them and I do really appreciate them. And just try to teach at the same time. So sometimes I can't reply to everything. So yeah, so if you are just playing from this part of your arm, so you are actually saying that you play with this part of your arm, but not with this part of your arm, not with your forearm. Now, if we are playing from about the this part of the bow, what's it called? I'm sure. Okay, the frog. I think it's called the frog. Okay, from the frog until the middle of the bow, you will mostly use this part of your arm. You will use your upper arm to bow. So I'm going to show you. Do you see that I'm mostly using my upper arm? I'm trying to kind of make it work while trying to stay in the image. And I'm actually staying on my toes right now, so it's getting hard to play the violin, but I'm trying. So right now, I mostly use my upper arm. Then, when you have a 90-degree angle over here, you start using your forearm. And here, you start using your forearm. So now I just use my forearm. Now I use my forearm again, go to the middle of the bow. For me, it's the middle of the bow, but it depends on how long your arms are. And I'm just 1 meter, 63 centimeters. I'm not sure what it is in the USA. 5 foot. No, not sure. I'm just not going to say it. And then you are playing. Then you're using, for the last part, you're using your upper arm again. So actually you use different parts of your arm depending on which space or which part of the bow you are playing. So this is actually quite a challenge in the beginning. So use your upper arm first. Yes. Then use your forearm, the lower part of your arm over here. Then use lower part over here again, and then your upper arm over here. And this is the way in which you go bow straight. So you actually do have to, you have to move both parts of your arm, and you do have to realize in which part of the bow you have to move which part of the arm, which is a struggle for many beginners. Don't know this actually. And even people that play for a while sometimes don't know this, and they will mostly play with their upper arm. And what happens then is that you will play not parallel to the bridge in the end of the bow. How to read music notation instantly. I have to smile about this because it is just you're probably not from the USA, and me neither, but I think instantly means like that you just learn it directly, and it does take some time to learn it. It's like if you try to learn to read a new language, it's the same, right? You have to learn a complete new language, the note language. So it does take some time, and you will not be able to learn it instantly. How do you learn it? Yeah, this is a long process again. It's like if you read a question, it's like I could talk about it for like ages. So I recommend checking out note reading apps. Actually, there are some apps on the market that will help you to read notes. But then I also recommend doing exercises specifically for violin, because if you so when I started reading notes, I first couldn't actually say if it was an A or a B or a C, but I actually could play the notes already when I saw them, because I knew this note is the second finger on the A string. So this is the most important thing, that you know where the notes are on the violin. It's not the most important that you know the note names. So actually start focusing on that first. what actually my students do sometimes. I can show that to you. One of my younger students really loves to do it, even though it is like quite challenging, and I thought she would probably hate it, but she does it for fun. She will just get a piece. Okay, this is probably quite a hard piece, but I'm just going to show it to you. So, and then she will just write down, just like I do in the Violinspiration songbook. If you've been working with one of my books, you will see that I actually do this. I write down the string under the notes, and then I will write down the notes above. So I will write down the finger numbers. So for instance, this note is the third finger on the A string. So I would write down A3, then the next one. This is the second finger on the E string. A2, E2, A3, A2. So I'm just writing down the string and the finger number. And this is the first thing you want to be able to recognize, is just the string and the finger number, and not exactly which note it is, if you want to be able to read sheet music. Of course, knowing which notes is it, now I do know which notes all of these are, obviously, but I didn't need it in the beginning to be able to play in an orchestra. So if your goal is to learn as fast as possible and to be able to read notes as fast as possible, I recommend learning like this. Next. When I use my fourth finger, it always gets overlapped by my third finger. Can you suggest any techniques so that I feel pretty flexible while using my fourth little finger? I'm not sure what you mean with getting overlapped by my third finger, but I can show you some practices for the fourth finger. So one thing is a really funny practice, actually. Thank you, Ozito, for your hug. That is actually... Okay, I'm going to show you. You can just use your fourth finger to pluck the strings, and this is a way to make it stronger. And you can actually... I don't know if you can actually hear this. And you can try to pluck your strings with your fourth finger to make it stronger. Then you can also do this exercise. So I'm just putting it on a string all the time. I have small hand problems too, sir. Yeah, I know your problem. I'm a very small person. You probably don't see that on YouTube, but I am one of the smallest persons in Berlin. So okay. So yeah, and for me, by the way, because I'm quite small, it's hard for me to kind of grip higher than the fourth finger. And I had actually had a violin teacher once that had the same problem, and she says it's okay if you are having small hands, that you just kind of don't make your finger round anymore when you have to put it too high, because it's just not possible for small people. So yeah, so you can just like tap the violin with your fourth finger, and then you can of course also do exercises. And actually one of the best ways is to just never use open strings. So this is one game I played with myself before. So I wasn't allowed to use any open strings anymore. So I would always have to use my fourth finger. So yeah, so I would just use fourth finger for songs where it really didn't make sense, like... playing out of tune over there. So yeah, so this is also a way to just try to play easy songs with the fourth finger. Mark asks, why did you turn the beginner course videos into private? Okay, yeah, good question. I actually talked about it in December in my week mail. I tried to put it online as an experiment, to just put the whole course online, and I asked for donations. But it didn't work out. Like, I'm just paying for my website on my own, and nobody's really sending me any donations. So I was thinking about a new way to be able to keep sharing content, but not having to pay a lot of money for myself, because I couldn't keep up the website with so many users. So now I've been thinking about offering the beginner course as a way for people to really get into depth with me, and kind of they will get more private lessons from me, live lessons, and yeah, so this is how I will offer the beginner course. This will be for a small price, and then I will be able to share all my free lessons on YouTube. And yeah, so because I noticed that the beginner course was like one of the courses that people didn't really seem to make happen on their own, or how can I say that, it's very hard to work a whole beginner course on your own. So I thought it would be the best way to work with the teacher, so I could actually offer private support for the people that want to do the beginner's course. So later it will be on my website, but I'm like updating it since months already, actually. So when it will be updated, I will put it back on my website, and then you can buy it for a small price, but all the other videos will still be free. So this is a way for me to make my website keep running, because I didn't want to quit Violinspiration because of something like this. So yeah, let's see if there's more questions. If you are in Berlin, we should sometimes do a video together. I'm in Hanover. Okay, I'm in Berlin. I'm up for it. If you come to Berlin, I'm not far away, Simon. I try to learn vibrato, but it's difficult. Yeah. Vibrato tips. Yeah, vibrato tips are in the beginning of this video. Renee, I'm not sure yet, because it will probably be the price of 2 violin lessons when it goes live in the end. But probably for those of you that are already members and already subscribed to my website for a while and actually got access to the free course, I will probably offer it for less, because then you can just kind of that you will keep access to the course. So probably the ones that buy it directly after I publish it will spend half of the price, and then there will be some more cool features like a Facebook group and live lessons every 2 weeks and stuff like that. I will send an email actually to everybody about it if it goes live, because if everything is exactly clear. So it's getting really close right now, but I'm still like wondering about some things and about what will be the best way to help people learn the violin online and stuff like that. I did a course before, so I already had some experience teaching online, but it's definitely a bit different than in real life. So I'm still thinking about some ways how to make it more streamlined, and definitely also figuring out the technical parts. Simon, would be nice to meet you. Come by in Berlin if you visit your brother. By the way, everybody, if you are in Berlin, come by and meet me in real life. I really prefer to meet people in real life instead of talking on camera. Like I do really also like connecting on camera, but it's just a different experience, right? To really meet people. Why is your English so good? Thank you for thinking that way, because so many people were like, you sound so Dutch. It's so clear you're from the Netherlands. So yeah, I lived in the USA for 3 months as a violin teacher, or I gave concerts in the USA. But mainly I learned English because I'm always reading English books and I have many English friends. So yeah. Yeah, I look forward to more lessons too. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'm going offline right now because I think I answered most questions that you have been asking. Well, thank you so much for joining, everybody. I see there's still 40 people live. So it's amazing how you've been able to keep up with me, because I think we are live for a while right now, and some people have been practicing for a long time with me. So thank you so much for staying live. And also the ones that are still there, you are really motivated to practice the violin. This is really awesome. This is not a coincidence that you're there. I really believe you will learn the violin if you're so motivated. So thank you. Have a nice evening, everybody. Usha, Simon, Zoya, Ned, Mayua. Probably I pronounced all of your names in the wrong way. I'm so sorry. Mena, thank you. Oh, last question. Katrine. Ivan. Great that all of you were there. So be fast with your last question. I can still answer it. Danke, danke. Thank you too. Thank you, Nohot and Sergi, for being there. It was a lot of fun to see all of you in the chat and to walk. Oh, René's going to Venlo tomorrow. Not sure what you're going to do over there. Okay, I know why most Germans go to the Netherlands, but I hope that I'm not sure what your reason is. Don't want to make any assumptions. Hello from Indonesia. Hi from France. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for being there. And yeah, see you again. I'm kind of waiting for the last question that Menno wanted to ask. Oh, he's going to shop. Nice. I wish you a lot of fun in the Netherlands. Mayu said I'm pretty close. Mayu. Okay, I'm not going to try. Joy. Thank you. Enjoy your night too. Why some people use fourth finger on the string? Strings. Why do you use the fourth finger? So why would you use the fourth finger? Because yeah, the fourth finger is actually the same as the open string, right? If you would play the fourth finger on the D string, it would be the same as the A string. So why would you use it? It's mostly because of the color of the sound. So the fourth finger sounds a little bit softer and the open string sounds a little bit louder. And so actually, if you play on the open string, do you hear there's a difference in the sound? It sounds softer, right? So this is the reason that people use fourth finger. And also why they would play position. So if you would play all the time without open strings, it will sound different. Like something like this. And then if you would play that on more like open strings and less in position, it would sound like. It sounds a little bit different, so yeah, it's mostly being really perfectionistic. I think it's a classical violinist thing that people can be really perfectionistic and try to use fourth fingers even though they can use open strings. Mostly folk players are using more open strings because they do actually like that open string sound. And how to change position, a short demonstration. Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to explain. So how to play position. So we are playing in the first position. If we play, our first finger is here on the first sticker. Do you see? This is the place where we would normally place our first finger, second finger, third finger. This is the first position. The first finger is on the place where the first finger is in first position. Now we're going to third position. We place the first finger on the place where we would normally place the third finger. So this is third position. The first finger is on the place of the third finger. So that's why it's called third position. Then we can play there too. So right now, so the piece I played right now was just anything I just thought out, and the piece I played before is called Meditation from Thais. So that was what somebody was asking in the chat. So this is third position. If you want to switch to second position, you place your first finger. I'm just keeping my finger below the string so you can see it. Never do that yourself. Always try to keep your fingers above the string so you can quickly put them on the string. So if you want to change to second position, place your first finger on the place of the second finger. This place or over here. So a low second finger or a high second finger. And this will be third position. Then we will get fourth position on the place of the fourth finger. Fifth position. And so it goes on. So first position. And yes, now we will go to the second position. And actually you are taking your thumb along. So if you are here, your thumb is also at the other side of the first finger. So the thumb will be at the place of the first finger. If you are playing in third position, the thumb also moves along to the third position. So, and here the thumb will be higher. And here you can also get to the fourth position. And now you can get to the fifth. And so on. So you can always go higher and higher. And I think, I'm not sure what the highest position is. I think maybe 7, but I'm not going to tell it right. I'm not sure. So please don't blame me if that is wrong. Yeah. My teacher tells me not to play with tapes on the fingerboards. So yeah, it really depends on each person, what works for you. You have to kind of figure out. So so there would be one reason for me to let a student not play with any tapes. And that is if I see that they would just be looking at the tapes and they already play for a long time and they are not listening. So if you always keep in mind that the most important thing is listening, you can still play with tapes, in my opinion. But yeah, there's so many different opinions about it, and every violinist has another opinion. So do what feels right for you. I think that is the best advice I can give you. If you enjoy playing with tapes, if you feel it helps you, please keep playing with tapes. And if you feel like it doesn't help you, just don't use it. And you have to experience for yourself, because I think every student is different. So there isn't a right or a wrong way. In the end, the only right way is the way in which you will learn how to play the violin. So kind of don't take any specific violin teacher advice too strictly. Just think what will work for me and just try it. So thank you so much, Remo, for telling that you really enjoyed the lessons. So yeah, I'm going to go away right now. So thank you so much for watching. I still see that people are joining and still asking questions, but I kind of tried to go away already for about 20 minutes ago. So right now, okay, I think maybe there's one thing we could do as the ultimate last thing, and this is that I could teach you a really little part, like a little violin piece. We could play something together. So if you would enjoy that, please say yes in the comments if you would like to get your violin, and I could teach you something really small, or I could play something small myself. You can choose. Please post in the comments what you would like. I'm going to see. Hi, gaming time. So would you like to practice something together, or would you like me to play something? And maybe if you want me to play something, then also tell me what kind of song you would like me to play. Maybe I can think of something myself. Danny Boy, something. Oh yeah, I have to think what the song goes like. Okay, I'm going to play Danny Boy, the first thing that somebody requested. And I hope I still remember the song, actually. I didn't play it for a long time. So. that was Jenny Boy. Probably I forgot a part of that song. So also they want to hear something jazzy. I can play something jazzy. Oh God, I'm always going to stay here. It's like 8:30 in Germany, and I'm still going to a friend's party tonight. So, so then he will be like, "Where is Julia?" And I'm just being on YouTube playing songs. But yeah, I can play something jazzy because I never really do on my channel. Wait a moment. I will get a backing track because that will be more fun for me. It's a bit hard to play something jazzy without a backing track. Wait a second. I'm going to get my phone. Please bear with me. Okay, sorry guys, there was an alarm running on my phone, so I had to switch it off. So right now I'm going to play a jazzy song. Okay. First I'm going to connect. Thank you that you enjoyed the song. That's great. Okay, I'm going to play a jazzy song. So, maybe I'm going to play some like gypsy kind of song. I'm still like trying to decide. Or summertime, that's something everybody knows, and I also teach it on my channel. So then you guys can actually learn this song if you enjoy it. Oh, my left ear is a little sensitive, even with the mute in the violin. Do you recommend using a hearing protector? If you, in general, most people don't need it, but in general, I think you should do anything that feels good to you. So if you feel like you're having a little bit of trouble with your left ear, and you feel like you would enjoy playing the violin more with this protector, definitely do it. I think you should do anything that motivates you, and also listen to your body, because even though maybe for most people it is not a problem, for some people it is. And I always noticed this with my students, that everybody is unique and everybody has different preferences. So it's so important to listen to yourself, because in the end, often the students knows better what is good for them than the teacher even. So yeah, so if that feels good for you, definitely give it a try. And also you can use different kind of mutes. This is a very light mute, and then there's stronger mutes. I can show it to you. Where's my mutes? Okay, I'm going to try to find it. Probably I borrowed it again to my students, because I'm always borrowing them stuff, and then I don't know where my stuff is, and then somebody has it and I have no idea who. But okay, I can't find it. Maybe somebody took it, or probably I lost it again. So yeah, there are stronger mutes, and you can look on online websites for all kinds of different mutes that are much stronger. So maybe you would enjoy that too, because maybe it could also be a bit annoying if you just hear things in a different way if your ear is closed in one direction. Do I have to hold the bow with my pinky on the end? It's very uncomfortable for me. Does it make a difference? Yeah, I think it does make a difference, because there's more stability in your bow hold. In the end, this is like the most stable part of the bow. But I actually sometimes I actually kind of let go of my pinky at certain parts when I play. But yeah, in general, I do recommend this kind of hold. But I have to put a side note over there. There are so many violin players that do all kinds of different holds. And especially if you're in the folk scene, you will see people playing all kinds of ways. You can see people play like this, and it will sound good. So yeah, definitely try your, like, have a look what you want. If you really want to learn classical music, I do recommend to, even though that it feels weird, to really keep to the classical hold, because it does, of course, uh, uh, it did evolve over years and years and years and decades of violin playing. So there's probably a reason why all, like, most good violin players play like this. So yeah, I do recommend to try to keep that hold. But if you feel it is like not enjoyable for you, you can try different ways. Like, maybe that's not like a good answer that I should give as a violin teacher, but I think most important thing is that you are enjoying what you're doing and that you have fun while playing the violin. So, oh, my mute is a steel iron one. Okay, if you have a steel iron mute, probably you're not going to find a stronger mute, because that are the strongest mutes I know of right now. So, okay, now people want to hear greetings. Give her a break, said Mark. Yeah, okay. Um, so yeah, I would actually, I would still play a jazz tune. I promised it to people, so I'm going to play Summertime, and this is a tutorial you can learn on my channel. Yeah, I teach it told it 2 years ago, so I will see if I can still play this song. So let's try it. Oh, that's a bit fast. Okay. Okay, that was the end of the track. So yeah, that was something jazzy for you. Um, so and Mark is kind of feeling bad that I'm not going to the party. Don't worry, like, nobody's really waiting for me. Oh, that sounds sad. I think they do enjoy when I come. I will probably bring the violin and play violin there too, so it doesn't really matter where I play the violin. So yeah. So yeah, okay. But I think it is a good idea to leave to the party right now. So thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to do a live lesson again, probably. And I think I will definitely do more live lessons in my beginner group. So I will soon host a beginner group. Um, I will write about it. If you are a member of the newsletter, I will write about it, and I will do bi-weekly live lessons for the people that join the group. It's a paid group, but it will be for a small fee. So you will actually be able to ask me your questions and join the live lessons. I think it will be around the price of one lesson, and then you can join the live lessons like for as long as I will do them. So probably it is quite a while. So I will let you know about it. It's a part of the beginner bootcamp. So yeah, I'm going to send you more information about it as soon as it goes live. It's a beginner's course, and it will have lessons, and yeah, you will be able to have lessons with me, live lessons more often, and probably I will also do more live lessons on YouTube. That's for I'm not sure again when, but yeah, I will let you know if I will do it again, and especially I will write all the newsletter subscribers. So if you are not subscribed to the newsletter yet, go to my website and like subscribe to be a member of the website, and I will let you know if the next live lesson is going to happen. And I will try to let you know a little bit more in advance, because today I just let everybody know like a few seconds before I got started, which was probably not a very good idea, but yeah, I'm going to work on it. So yeah, thank you so much everybody for watching, and I will see you back later. I'm going to give you more advice in the next live lesson. Thank you so much that you keep asking questions. It's a big compliment that everybody wants to have me to help them. So thank you for thinking that I know stuff, I guess. So yeah, I do really appreciate it. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, Renee and Kishore, Abdullela, 20, Osito and Rowan and Thomas. Thank you so much for watching, and see you back another time. Bye, Chris.